Hello, everyone. Welcome to another match of the ALTTPR League Season number 2. This is going to be our first match of the week between Pug Trio and the Yu-Tang clan. WeightyWords versus apathyduck today. We're going with the same old settings we have been all week so far. So going to be an open seed, 7 crystals, defeat Ganon. Nothing special, what we're used to seeing for the most part. I am HammerBro, and today in the booth I am joined by Drossi. How are you doing today, man?
I am doing great. I am really psyched that the league is finally underway. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's another day, another race. I'm getting my fix. Everything is well with the world.
Definitely. And we have a lot of races ahead of us for you tonight. So, yeah, you will definitely be getting your rando fix by the time tonight is over if you stick around here.
Holy cow, yes. With 64, upwards towards 64 races a week, you're basically going to be getting your rando fix for the next roughly 2 months, as much as you want of it, and in vast and varied forms, depending on what week we're talking about. So stay tuned, because there's going to be a lot of rando just being thrown in your direction in every channel and every which way.
And meanwhile, let's introduce our runners and their teams. They are playing in the Lake Hylia division of the Light World Conference. Pug Trio team with WeightyWords as the Courage player, Yu-Tang clan with apathyduck as their Courage player, making synchronized starts in Link's house to get 20 rupees there.
Yeah, nothing much. Yeah, it is.
Okay, I saw a 5-6 in Hera and a green pendant, vanilla and Eastern. I did not catch Desert, did you?
I believe Desert was a standard crystal, but I saw Desert last, so I am not certain about that. Alright, so nothing special so far. The 20 rupees might end up coming in handy depending on how free with money Kakariko Village is. But we haven't gotten anything important yet, as Uncle gives us another 10 arrows, just in case the tree pole wasn't enough.
Maybe someday we'll get a bow to use them with.
Yeah, maybe in about an hour and a half.
And WeightyWords, by the way, is playing as Vanilla Sunday Link, who I believe upgrades to chocolate and then strawberry as they get the mail upgrades.
I feel like that might be a controversial set of settings there.
Depends on your preference in ice cream flavors.
Alright, so anyways, they are still relatively synced here, just a couple of seconds apart. It does look like apathyduck might be, is definitely going to be skipping that lumberjack ledge and the potential tree pull here. WeightyWords may go and see. Oh, you threw that the wrong direction, bud. Okay, so blue rupees for the bush crab. That's not bad. That might come in handy at some point.
And a full heart in Lost Woods is nice. Was that just another bloopy sitting in lumberjack?
I believe it was 3 bombs, so yeah, either way, nothing important for us yet.
Something blue and worthless.
Basically.
Speaking of bombs, WeightyWords has not quite managed to harvest enough rupees to buy bombs in Kakariko, and neither of our runners have found any bombs, so they are going to need to buy... Okay, there we go. Weighty's now over 50. They will need to buy bombs in Kakariko if they want to fully clear all the items in there.
Yeah, it's either that or heading into either the well or Blind's hut on kind of a hope and a prayer, which it doesn't look like apathyduck is going to be doing at the very least.
Well, that's plenty of money. So now we have Bottle Vendor, we have all the bombs we could want. We're almost at Zora money.
Yeah, nothing like a rupee hoard in Kakariko to get your count ending up being pretty nice. All right, so we're going to get a check of the chicken hut here. And just another heart. Early hearts aren't bad, especially if we're not given a weapon of any sort early on. It's nice to have, 5 or 6 hearts, so just in case you get whacked by something a couple times, you don't end up dying. I'm talking about you, crabs, over by Ice Rod Cave. That's not fun.
Yeah, many a runner has been denied entrance to Ice Rod Cave. Oh, and WeightyWords finds the first sword and also finds bombs down there so he can continue back.
Yeah, so that mini gamble there kind of paying off.
So now we got weapons.
Yeah, we have a weapon. We're just now at this point looking for some actual progression here. The sword's nice to go swing at people, but it's not going to help us out too much in terms of where we can go next. Hopefully that'll be what the well will do for us.
This seed is really getting off to a healthy start. Not only have we seen all these heart containers, the runners just found their 4th piece of heart for another container.
Yeah, we're talking about a decent amount of rupees, a whole bunch of health, a sword, which is nice, and then the flippers. So we won't be seeing any fake flippers today, which, depending on how you feel about that, about watching the coolness of that minor glitch, you may be slightly disappointed or ambivalent.
Okay, so Desert is Red Pendant. I guess neither of us caught that the first time around.
Yeah, so 2 pendants in the light world. It'll be interesting to see how our runners route that. Because as we saw yesterday in particular, some runners aren't really big fans of going independent dungeons unless absolutely required. But with the limited amount of items we have now and the limited amount of non-sphere 1 checks we have at our disposal, at some point heading into Eastern, or depending on what we get, Desert, might be forced.
Now, apathyduck is taking an interesting turn in doing the front of escape here. And I don't think he checked Southern Kakariko. Shovel on Library, that's kind of interesting. But that front of escape is useful because there's the Moon Pearl, and there's the bow on Race Game. We are finding stuff left and right all of a sudden.
All right, so anyone want to go into Eastern for that green pendant?
Yeah, the bow does seem to be pointing that way. Or else the flippers checks might have something, but in the meantime, apathyduck will show us what is in the remaining chest and escape.
There's something ironic here about, as we're not getting a check of Zelda's cell, and instead we're going to get a death warp out. That's intriguing.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. I think he's trying to steal the key in case the key isn't in Dark Cross. He doesn't have the gloves, so he wants to do the 3 chests in the back of Escape if the key isn't in Dark Cross.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's not something we see often in single-player randomizers. It's a bit more likely when you see something like multi-world, and the point is just to get as many items as you physically can for yourself and your teammates. But a bit less common here in the one-player randomizers that we're seeing here. So I guess we'll see if it works out. We could get something ridiculously ironic, like, I don't know, having that key be in Dark Cross, but we'll see what happens.
This is also totally out of logic because there is no fire source that the runners have found yet.
Yeah, that's a good point, but if apathyduck ends up finding something silly, like, say, a glove and the key all the way in the back here, that would end up being a ridiculously amazing call.
Well, what Apathy found was a bottle of blue goo.
That's not bad. That will allow a check of Sick Kid at the very least. And that's not even saying what potentially we could get for, wow, okay. How about boots and a lamp?
Yeah, and Zora money too now, and WeightyWords is right in position to do the flippers check, so that works out perfectly.
It does. We're talking quite a bit of convenience here with that one.
With the lamp, the back of escape is now, I believe, in logic, except that there's something weird about that key logic. In any case, there was nothing useful there, so... The important thing is that bottle is in logic because we know where the lamp is.
Right, but an interesting thing to think about is that apathyduck found both the map and the small key in the back. That means that Zelda's cell is hiding something, and I kind of doubt we're going to see it at this point.
Yeah, that would be a long orphan check. And WeightyWords is doing the water walk just to save time, even though he has the flippers.
Oh yeah, save time, and it's just a boatload of fun. I mean, come on. How often do you get to dash in the water? Oh wow, mirror in the back of our old man's closet.
So, if we could get Death Mountain access, we could full clear Hera.
Yes, we could, and at that point, we'd need just a hammer or a hook shot from being able to full clear a bunch of stuff up that mountain. Not to mention, the hammer would make Moldorm quite a bit more tolerable than Fighter Sword would be.
Yeah, and meanwhile, WeightyWords is going to give us these 4 checks.
Yeah, all of them, amusingly enough, in logic. Oh my goodness, Fire Rod. Okay, why don't you just keep throwing stuff at us? This is fun.
So, with Dark World access, it looks like something might be pointing towards Skull Woods. Which, like Tower of Hera, would be full clearable if we could only get to the entrance.
That's a good point. I would also like to point out that the two pendants that we are aware of at this point are also full clearable. As you know, as soon as we get that book, if we're talking about getting into the door.
And that makes an AGA care package for WeightyWords.
Yeah, the Master Sword is nice, but in that situation, I don't think WeightyWords was hoping for it.
Well, just in terms of what we know the runners have access to, there's the shovel spot, there's Sick Kid, and there are 3 items in Eastern. And they'd have to have either 2 gloves or 1 glove and a hammer to avoid AGA at this point, or something that would open up more access.
Yeah, at this point, my agonimometer is relatively high. I feel like the odds of us getting everything we need to avoid it is dwindling as these checks keep going through here.
But Weighty is going to take us to that shovel check, so 1 more location out of the way. Just some money.
So it seems like everything is pointing towards Eastern at this point. Or that 1 item in Zelda's cell. Let's not forget that hiding.
Oh, right. Well, it looks like Weighty's gonna do escape now.
And this could be interesting because after escape, under the assumption that there's nothing in Zelda's cell that would point us elsewhere, this would be the time for WeightyWords to do Aghanim to prevent another run over in this direction. But if apathyduck decides to look at the eastern area, or look at eastern itself first, that could be an interesting point of divergence.
Yeah, if one exhausts all the possible checks, that's a high-risk, potentially high-reward play.
Yeah, meanwhile, WeightyWords showing us how much we're really missing out playing the vanilla game, going through escape with no boots, because my goodness, this is so much faster.
And a Master Sword helps things too.
Yes, very much so. But now, counterpoint. Now that WeightyWords has not stolen the small key here, they're not going to be able to access the back.
Which will hang over his head, but we know there's nothing in there.
Right, exactly.
He also has not gotten that mirror from Sahasrara's closet, so he's setting up a death warp.
Alright, and as we see a 20 in Zelda's cell, we'll know that that check will not haunt apathyduck.
But yeah, we are running low on locations unless Sick Kid or one of the 3 items in Eastern has progression. This is an Agaseed.
Yeah, and progression is relatively limited at this point. The book would help us out. The hammer and hookshot wouldn't even do anything at this point outside of having a glove. So we would basically need either the book or a slew of items in Eastern.
Well, the glove would get us to Death Mountain and Hera.
Right, that's a good point. Meanwhile, it looks like we're switching, so I suspected that between the two of them, apathyduck would be more likely to do Eastern, but apathyduck is headed straight over to Aghanim. Meanwhile, WeightyWords is at least heading in the general Eastern area.
And that Fire Rod makes Aga Tower so much easier. Those guards go down with 1 hit.
Yes, Fire Rod makes a lot of things burn, particularly things that are red.
And I'm just realizing, looking at the tracker, apathyduck never did go back and check race game. He's gonna need to do that at some point, I'm thinking. Depends on where the other bow is, of course, but still.
Yeah, that is the interesting thing about that route, is that he orphaned both the shovel and the library. I don't believe he ever checked that. And then also didn't have anything to do with the bow that was sitting in in the race game. Excuse me.
But yes, this is very interesting because if I had banked on which of the 2 runners would do Eastern and which would skip to Aga, I would have gone the other way with them.
Yeah, that's fair, but keeping in mind that apathyduck does not have that bow, it turns into, like for WeightyWords, this is 4 items, because it's Eastern, which is guaranteed to get 3, and all of them are in logic. In addition to having the item turn in from the green pendant, where apathyduck knows that they're not going to get that because they don't have the bow, so it's more of a 2.5 item locations, because we might not even get that 3rd item in Eastern without the bow.
Well, one of the Eastern items just proved itself worthless.
Yeah, so at this point we're looking for a glove or a book, basically. That's the only thing that's going to drag this on beyond Mushroom.
Meanwhile, Apathy is about to head into AGA 1, so if you want to guess a number between 0 and 15 of the number of blue balls Aghanim will throw in this seed, feel free.
Do you have a guess for us today?
I'm thinking 4. I'm thinking a little above average, but not too bad. What about you?
I'm saying it's required, so I'm going to be nice and say 1.
Well, there was your 1.
I hope so.
Nope.
Oh well, it was too much to hope for, I guess.
We could still stop at 2 and get the 2 cycle.
We could, or your 4 could be in play.
Yeah. Well, that is number 4.
We could still get 3 more.
Yay!
All right, shout out to Drosy1, the person who was able to correctly guess 4 as the number of blue balls.
Vanilla piece of heart on the pyramid. Given the lack of a hook shot or a glove or a hammer, the only place apathyduck can go here is pod, and he doesn't have the bow. Though he does have a bottle for the bottle glitch.
That is true. Another potential option here is actually catfish. You can jump. Oh no, you can't because you don't have the glove or the hammer. Disregard the dingus in the booth.
Oh, but he is going to do Lake Hylia Island, which is interesting.
Did either of our runners check that? I don't recall seeing what was on there.
Me neither.
Meanwhile, on WeightyWords side, we had an excellent Armos there, so we're going to see if that green pendant turns out to be anything. If not, then that's a bit of time that WeightyWords is going to wish they had back.
Care of Fisher Price. So yeah, that's a bust, unfortunately, and WeightyWords has lost a couple of minutes here.
apathyduck, meanwhile, not interested in going into pod, which is kind of an intriguing choice. I would think that after you made the gamble for Aghanim, you would go ahead and see that gamble through and take advantage of their, definitely not being, of going where you'd have to go if Aghanim were required. And apathyduck's going to do a blind pull of those 3 bombs.
Doesn't even want them for all that. He can't get out any other way, apart from a save and quit.
You have fallen down this hole, apathyduck. You will take these bombs, and you will like them. So this is interesting. I would have thought that apathyduck would have a bit of a lead here by going ahead and knocking out Aghanim before WeightyWords did. But at this point, they're just kind of content to run over the places that WeightyWords has already checked.
Well, I think this is our first look at Sick Kid.
Yes, I believe you are correct. But with that mirror, they could have just as easily done it, depending on what we end up finding in pod, because there has to be some progression of some sort there.
Right, and since the seed expects you to have the bow, they have access to everything logically except for Helmasaur.
Meanwhile, that red guard really giving apathyduck a run for their money. Gonna run over here, see the bow, roll their eyes, and turn back around.
That is one thing that beating Aga 1 really makes annoying. Those red guards are everywhere.
They are, particularly in the Kakariko and Eastern area, and it is just really annoying. Like, for a lot of it, the guards that are already there just kind of get an upgrade, but for some reason in particular, that Eastern area is crawling with them.
I don't know, maybe they want to keep Sahasrahla company or something.
Yeah, they finally snuffed out where the village elder is. They just can't seem to find which doorway.
So at this rate, it looks like WeightyWords is going to give us our first look at pod.
Yeah, potentially. I feel like between... So apathyduck is going to have a bit of better routing for the eastern area, because depending on if they choose to or not, which I don't know if they will, we'll get they'll be able to do pod and then do eastern. We know that eastern's not going to give us anything, but apathyduck does not know that. And depending on what pod gives us, doing eastern at that point, since you're standing right next to the door with the mirror in hand, might seem like the better play.
That was a very fast map. Okay, there we go.
Alright, so 5-6 Crystal at Ice Palace, and then other...
Wait, no, I saw the 5-6 in Mire.
You're right. Sorry, I said Ice, but in my head I was saying Mire. And then the blue pendant is sitting up at Skull Woods.
So that fire rod could be a bit of a red herring, just like that early bow was a bit of a red herring when it came to Eastern.
Yep, and with that fire rod being required for Skull Woods, it's fairly likely that at least one of our runners, if not both, is going to at least partially dip that dungeon. Complete it? I'm not certain, but at least go in there and check the front half.
Well, and another runner in the league, Big Dunka, did a whole statistical analysis of 50,000 seeds and found that Skull Woods is one of the likeliest dungeons to have progression in.
Which is kind of interesting, since Skull Woods is one of the lighter in terms of actual items.
But it's also one of the easier to get at when you have Dark World access.
Yes, very much so. Alright, so with a compass in that first chest, this dungeon is logically bow locked, but, well, we have one, so no problems there.
WeightyWords definitely getting through that mimic room a bit faster than apathyduck.
apathyduck, I think momentarily forgetting that the hammer is not currently in their possession.
Yeah, a lot of runners just hate going into pod without the hammer, but, well, this seed's kind of forcing it.
Yeah, this seed thus far has been very linear. We will see... Depending on what we get here, that may or may not change.
Okay, starting to find items now that we're in the back. Still 2 more keys back here. There's one. There's the other, so Harmless Hellway has an item.
Yeah, apathyduck pausing for a moment there, likely doing a quick count in his head, coming up with the same conclusion you did as we get another heart. So I hope you want to be healthy today, because we're looking at 9 right now.
By the way, where was the second bottle? I see 2 bottles on the trackers for both runners, but I think I missed it.
I'd love to tell you that, but I can't because I don't remember. As there's our hook shots, there's the rest of our Dark World access. And like any good dungeon we can't complete right now, Pod is giving us everything towards the very, very back. So the second to last check is our actual progression.
Oh, did apathyduck not check down here yet?
I don't believe either runner did. So that will be a bit of a difference.
He'll need that key to get to Helmasaur when the time comes.
Exactly. That'll be something to keep in mind. It will save him a little bit of time towards the back end here once we do actually start being able to clear dungeons.
WeightyWords realizing he needs to use the flippers, not the glove that he doesn't have, to get to the other side.
Yep, and with no glove, like you mentioned, Catfish is going to be very, very, very orphaned at the end of this. Because we will get a check of everything here in the North Dark World. So yeah, Catfish is going to literally be 1 point in its own little quadrant of Dark World Hyrule.
Right, thanks to the boots and mirror, we will be seeing King's Tomb and Graveyard Ledge. Actually, did either runner check Bonk Rocks yet? I don't think so.
One of them did. I believe it was a big 20. It was something that apathyduck checked while WeightyWords was going through the Aghanim fight.
Oh, okay. So WeightyWords will probably stop to check it, and then apathyduck will catch up, and this is really close so far.
It is, which is interesting because WeightyWords currently has a complete dungeon done on apathyduck. Now, it's a dungeon that's not relevant unless, well, there's something on PED, but apathyduck does not know that.
I'm also thinking, with those early boots, they're bonking a lot, so apologies to any of you who might have picked them in your fantasy leagues. They're gonna get deducted for bonking.
Wait, bonks aren't good? I thought the whole point of Link to the Past was to bonk.
Fantasy League made the bonks be negative as soon as the runners start having more than 10 bonks.
Oof. I'd say something terrible like that's rebonkulous, but I feel like chat would absolutely, yeah, that wouldn't go over well with chat, so I'm just not going to say that.
That was pushing it. Just a vanilla piece of heart on Bumper Ledge.
Yeah, thankfully we won't have to come back for that, as we do get this this Skull Woods dip from WeightyWords at the very least. apathyduck, at least for the time being, going to ignore its presence.
And WeightyWords finds that first key, which will allow him to do a full circle around here.
Yep, with no key guaranteed in the chamber pot room. Skullwoods has become interesting.
And that's one of the two items. Yeah, so now he could actually get himself locked in here and have to mirror out.
Hey, it seemed like Big Dunka's. Yeah, that was useful.
Yeah.
Nice glove.
Pendant Skullwoods is the play.
Oh, Pendant Skullwoods is always the play.
That is our Death Mountain access.
It is, and with the hookshot and the mirror, that's a whole lot of access. We could get a little more if we find the other set of gloves that are somewhere around here, but at least for now, that's still, what, something around 11 items, give or take?
Um, 13 if you count Hera.
Yes, good call. I was skipping. Yeah, it's a bunch. It's get up there now, please. It's a bunch of items. Come here.
Apathyduck doing Thieves Town and hasn't found anything yet. Which means you risk orphaning an item in the big chest.
Well, as long as we don't see that small key, we're good to go.
Though the irony there is if we don't see it, then the back is logically hammerlocked.
Yeah, that's fair. That is something to keep in mind, actually. Speaking of health, how about a 35-minute mirror shield?
Yeah! Another thing you don't exactly see too often.
I mean, holy cow, the seed's being linear, but it's giving us stuff in lieu of an apology.
And once these runners start finding items, it should be a pretty fast rest of the seed.
Yes, once that occurs.
I mean, I guess we still need a lot. We need the other glove, we need the hammer, we need the ice rod, we need 1 or 2 medallions, we need the cane of Samaria, we need the flute.
Yes, quite a bit of items. Not to mention, depending on where some of those are, we might need additional items, like, you know, the book.
Depending on where the flute is.
Or the mitts. Oh, that'd be terrible.
What about the mitts?
They could be sitting in desert.
Oh. Well, there's another bottle. And the key is in the chest, so if blind has an important item, that important item is logically hammerlocked. Why did you lock it, Hammer? Why?
I mean, I had to lock something. If I didn't, they'd be done in like 55 minutes.
Well, we'll find out what you locked.
Don't worry, it's nothing important. Blind going a little off script there, but still very well done. See, told you, nothing important. Just the 4th bottle.
And first crystal at the game at about 3750. Maybe Hype Cave will have some hype today. At least some bacon. And we have chocolate sundae.
I mean, it wasn't a bad cave. It's not what we wanted to see, but it wasn't bad.
I'd give it like a 4.
Yeah, I feel like your opinion. I love how that bottle is too big, and apathyduck was like, no thanks. I mean, come on, that green goo is worth 60 rupees. You might need that later.
Oh, right, and WeightyWords never did do the back of escape because of the key placement in the glove.
Yep, but after we're done here, this seat is once again rather forcefully. I love how WeightyWords just knew that the other two were a map and a key. Holy cow.
Great counting.
It's honestly stuff like that that's the difference between a good runner of Randomizer and an excellent runner of Randomizer, because being able to either be cognizant enough to take notes of all of that and have them aware, or more likely in WeightyWords' case, just knowing off the top of your head, hey, there's only one item left in here, and as soon as I get it, I'm saving that extra, not even 3 seconds, and I'm going to go ahead and get that knocked out of the way.
And for those of you who might be new to the ALTTPR community, WeightyWords, in fact, was the winner of the Link to the Past Randomizer tournament at Speed Gaming Live this past fall, which I believe netted a cool $4,000. It's one of the few ALTTPR tournaments that's actually had a cash prize.
Yeah, very cool. I believe they are still working on setting up a date for that. Am I correct?
Yeah, Fiesel's still working it out, but it should be around October or maybe early November.
Awesome. Definitely looking forward to that. Oh, this is an interesting check. Oh wow. So this is an interesting check, because yeah, technically we could have something in that first chest. Well, not in the first chest with the key, sorry, the second chest technically.
Okay, so the bottle count must have been off because now we're seeing the 4th bottle on Spec Rock.
Okay, that makes a little more sense. If there's something here, this is going to be enormous. Well, oh, that was rude.
Of all the places to dead rock.
And I know it doesn't matter so much, because even if, you know, the dead rock had been off by 7 or 8 pixels in either direction, still would have blocked it. But the fact that it was perfectly lined up, as we just get a piece of heart. So yeah, definitely up the mountain today, guys.
And with that hook shot, WeightyWords can do a Harapot glitch if they want to. Ooh. That was an important item.
It was. I've been looking for that for a while.
And Weighty's doing the bomb setup rather than the boot setup for the glitch, but gets it first try.
I'm trying to figure out where apathyduck is going.
Without the glove and hammer, his only access to the Dark World is back through Pyramid Portal.
That's right. apathyduck didn't go into... Oh, so that's gonna hurt. That's a whole boatload of time that they're gonna have to spend dashing back here and then going through Skull Woods.
And that was a very quick Moldorm kill. And the other item is in that big chest, so WeightyWords will have to decide whether he wants to get the vanilla big key and see what that item is.
Yeah, this is another interesting potential point of divergence here. Yep, alright, so not worrying about that one either.
Meanwhile, Apathy is finally in Skullwood, so he will at least get his glove.
Yeah, and with that glove, not going to be able to do a whole lot else but go up the mountain. So at least it'll be a... there's not a whole lot left for apathyduck to check. Alright, so at this point I feel like our biggest find is going to be the mitts.
Yeah, that'll open up Dark Death Mountain, give access to Ice Palace.
Well, that's nice at least.
Yeah, always nice to get the Ice Rod out of the way when it's not your Go Mode item.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like those one or two medallions that we need are still hiding out, so we might still end up having to play a little bit of a Hyrulean scavenger hunt.
Yeah, especially with so many items outstanding and with the pendants being in such small dungeons, it does kind of make you wonder if there might be something on Ped.
At this point, the only thing that hammer really gave us access to was Swamp Palace and Helmasaur. Although I suspect that, WeightyWords is going to go ahead and get Thieves Town cleared at some point, probably sooner rather than later. One thing that always astonishes me about all of our runners, honestly, and we don't ever really talk about it, but how fast do they menu? Holy cow!
Yeah, you play it enough, you just remember where all the items are. You do see the runners every so often wind up off by an item and then they have to reopen their menu, but yeah. Now let's see what apathyduck does here. He's also setting up the pot glitch. And WeightyWords goes into Swamp with the ability to full clear it.
And speaking of the Harrowpot clip, that's another just amazing thing about this game, is that, 30 years in, we're still finding new ways to break it. Just ever so slightly.
Yeah, that one was only found a few months ago.
It'll be interesting to see if apathyduck decides to, take a gander at that big key location and maybe grab his second item out of Harrow once completed.
Yeah. And it's worth noting that apathyduck is more of an RMG player, so he's not as used to, not having the big chest available, because of course if you're doing RMG, you need the Moon Pearl out of the big chest.
Alright, so meanwhile, that is a second crystal for apathyduck, and we're still kind of looking for stuff. WeightyWords in Swamp, hopefully going to give us something here. If not, there is an item on Helmasaur, so that is an option.
I think WeightyWords looks more like maybe a Neapolitan sundae than just a strawberry sundae.
Yeah, it does seem like it. It looks like we, at the very least, have a bit of vanilla for the piping and then some chocolate in the front. So yeah, it may perhaps have been just adding of flavors rather than changing of them.
Making me hungry.
I know. It's a bad idea, but here we are.
It's Myths. Oh, wait, that's a different team.
Yeah, there you go. I don't even think they're in the same division.
No, I don't think so. Oh, and that's a dungeon item, which does mean there's stuff on the left side, and I think he already found the map too, yes?
I believe so. I'm also fairly certain we have not seen the big key.
Right, but if Argus has the big key, that could mean there are 3 items left in Swamp, and then you basically have to go back.
I mean, I feel like going back for 2 at this point is a good idea. I love how WeightyWords just kept the rhythm up nonchalantly while waiting for the little puffballs to come back around.
Keep hookshotting, you'll get it eventually. Oh, there was the map. I guess I miscounted.
So that's going to be interesting, because that means the big key has a 2 in 3 chance of not being in that big chest. So WeightyWords might have to go to the left side and then come back. Or alternatively, you just leave it. Wow, okay.
Yeah, that's a risk when you're this far from go mode and there are 2 items over there.
I mean, quite frankly, we've been seeing a lot of that. Between Zelda's cell and the 1 item in Hera for both of them, and now 2 items in Swamp. If this ends up being a scavenger hunt for something, which I really hope it doesn't, because those just aren't fun. You can almost, see the suffering in the runner's eyes. But if it does, they're gonna be spoiled for choice when it comes to locations. Meanwhile, we do get an Ice Palace here from WeightyWords. This is going to be full clearable. We might potentially require the Cane of Samaria to complete it, but WeightyWords is going to do this cool little bomb jump that's going to render that obsolete.
But it could be information to have as to whether the game is expecting you to have Samaria.
That's a good point, especially if there's something here. Although without it being a 5-6 crystal, it's not as useful as it might be. Ice being a 5-6 crystal, it makes that super useful, because then depending on what you're looking for, it can't be in the Pyramid Fairy.
What I hate the most about Ice Palace is just that it takes so long to get your second chest. There's that one chest that's the Vanilla Compass chest, and after that you basically do half the dungeon before you can do any more checks.
I mean, Swamp is similar in that regard. They give you the 1 key, which I'm not going to count as a chest, because unless we're playing Key Sanity or something similar, it's always a key. And then unless you get a big key in that first or the second chest in the south, it's either go to left side or run all the way back here. So you get a couple chests in the beginning and then absolutely nothing for a while.
Well, it's better 2 chests in the beginning and then absolutely nothing, instead of 1 chest in the beginning and absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's fair. But either way, that's why we just like go moding both of them. Hello, flute.
Okay. Well, that gives us access to the Mire area. WeightyWords can find out what medallion is required and check Mire's Shed and Checkerboard Cave.
Yeah, that'll give us a little more knowledge in terms of what we need. Regardless of what the medallion is, we need it. As you can see, neither of our runners have picked up any medallions, which at 53 plus minutes is unusual.
It also, dare I say it, puts Ped in logic.
Oof. Yeah, and at this point, there's a whole bunch of stuff that could be on Ped. Oof.
And we don't even have the book to check it, but yeah. Well, not a whole bunch of stuff. All we need is the red cane and the relevant medallions from Iron Turtle Rock. But yes, any of those could be on Ped.
Both runners struggling a little bit with phase 2 of Argus.
Okay, so that's our third item in ice. And Apathy is going back in to check the left side, so now we'll find out whether WeightyWords left anything important over there.
Yeah, and this could be a huge turning point. Not that we're really anywhere near done, depending on what's required and where it's sitting. But with this seed being relatively linear, WeightyWords has definitely pushed the advantage. This is a situation where if there's something here for apathyduck, that's going to be huge. And if there's not, it's going to be just a couple more minutes that apathyduck's going to fall behind.
But that's the risk of rando.
Yes, especially in a super linear seed like this. If the seed was busted wide open earlier, or even in the middle of the game like here, it wouldn't be as big of a deal, because then you could argue that, you know, your opponent is probably going to waste their time checking some stuff. But with things being as super linear as they were, everyone's pretty much checking the same stuff. You have to.
Okay, so WeightyWords is probably going to Kakariko to activate that flute now.
Yep, also might pair that in with a clearing of Thieves Town, if he's thinking about it.
Might also check Smith Chain. Get those 07s in chat here as we release the Quacken.
That's my favorite one, too. Yep, and just as I said, decided, well, I'm standing right here. Let's just go ahead and take out another crystal real quick.
Okay, so one item is junk, but we found the big key, so now Apathy has to go back and check the big chest.
Because, of course... You know, Swamp does stuff like this and then wonders why a lot of people who play this game, both casually and competitively, just don't like Swamp Palace. It's because you make us do this. And you make us do this for probably nothing. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, so WeightyWords' gamble paid off.
It very much did, but at this point, there's two parts to a gamble. It's, on the one end, does it just legitimately, logically end up paying off? Like, in terms of what was there, does it pay off, yes or no? But then on the flip side, it's, how confident are you that it paid off? Because if WeightyWords ends up going back in there while looking for something else, then it's going to be time lost regardless of whether or not it was a good choice initially.
And meanwhile, apathyduck is going through ice. It's interesting that neither runner has particularly wanted to go back to pod yet, but I guess with the flute, it's a lot easier anyway. You can just flute to 5.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't considered that. There is one item sitting on Helmasaur, but I feel like at this point both of our runners are trying to press their advantage as much as they can by going to the larger amounts of items, especially in this linear seed. What I wouldn't be surprised in terms of divergence is to see one of them potentially take a shot up the mountain at some point. Not sure if that's going to be required, but we may potentially see, what, 3 dips up the mountain? Oof.
Well, a mountain double dip is certainly absolutely required because you need that hammer to get the myths.
Right, but all we would need is Cana Samaria or whatever medallion is required for Meyer sitting in the dark world Death Mountain for a logically required, and unless you're going to do some big old glitches, straight up required triple dip, and that's somewhat rare.
Yeah, I think it at that point becomes more of, do they want to risk it because there are 7 items up there, if we include Spike Cave, versus do they want to go to item poorer locations but potentially save themselves a 3rd climb up the mountain?
Yeah, and that is one of the big questions that you have to ask yourself on almost every randomizer seed that you play ever. Apathyduck just absolutely destroyed that hopping Stelphos by just throwing pot after pot after pot.
And WeightyWords is going to give us the Smith chain, so we'll get to see the Smith item, we'll get to see hammer pegs, purple chest, and I think those are the only ones that we haven't seen yet because apathyduck checked K45 and we know it's worthless.
Yep, that is correct. Although I don't believe WeightyWords has, so I wonder if we're going to see one of those other new glitches that we found concerning the purple chest.
Well, first let's see what the Smiths have.
I'm feeling a medallion. Are you feeling a medallion?
No, I'm not feeling a medallion.
Neither are they. I mean, at some point we have to be feeling a medallion, right? We need at least one of them.
This is pretty unusual to be an hour in and not have found a single medallion. Oh, so WeightyWords is just going to skip K45.
Add it to the list.
Hey, I'll take silvers.
Yeah, that's good time on investment right there.
And now WeightyWords is going to finish off pod. So we'll see what Dino Kitty has today.
I've never heard Helmasaur called that, and I'm not sure I have anything to say. What am I supposed to say in response?
You've never heard the Dino Kitty name?
I have not.
Where have you been?
Commentating the regular tournament? That is completely new to me. I need to start using that. That is delightful.
Have you heard it called Helmicopter and Enemizer when it gets stuck in, like, Mothula's room and doesn't have anywhere to move around and so its tail just spins?
Yes, that is delightful. I saw that once and I died because I was laughing so hard. I had the delightful... I don't want to call it misfortune, but given that I had to go there a second time to beat him, it was kind of misfortune. of being the first time I saw that actually while playing an Randomizer seed with Boss Shuffle, and I couldn't stop laughing.
And speaking of Randomizer, that is our week 3 mode here, so we might see some Helmicopters in a couple of weeks in this league.
I look forward to it. I also enjoy seeing Vitreous on Trolldorm too. I'm sorry, that was probably mean of me.
But yes, the way the league is set up, the weeks just kind of start with standard stuff and they get crazier and crazier. Next week we'll have Ambrosia, which is standard mode with a couple of extra things like the uncle giving the boots hint and every boss has a guaranteed item. Not progression, but at least you won't get a dungeon item. And then we move on to Randomizer, and then Mystery Seed, Cross Keys, and then a couple of co-op weeks. So we've got something for everyone in this league.
Yeah, there will be a couple of those weeks that I will be I will be abstaining because I just don't know enough about entrance to be able to calm that stuff. But kudos to people who can run it, because whew, that's insane.
It is tough to track. And it is a lucky seed that goes less than 2 hours. Oh, and
I feel like depending on where our medallions are, this might be a lucky seed that goes less than 2 hours.
So that's Quake on Misery Mire.
And that is an excellent frame-perfect dash from apathyduck.
Half Magic's nice, but still not progression.
Yeah, at this point, it's... Yeah, that's probably what apathyduck is saying. Like, thank you, but I would give it back if you gave me something useful.
And just money and checkerboard, so... Really, at this point, what do we have besides Dark Death Mountain and Desert?
Oh, this is going to be interesting. Especially because, well, WeightyWords is doing one, and apathyduck's doing the other.
Well, no telling whether WeightyWords will actually do Desert after checking the 3 checks apathyduck just did.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I'm just kind of being hopeful here.
But yeah, I think there are 10 possible places. There are 7 on Dark Death Mountain, there are 2 in Desert, and there's Pedestal.
Oh man, those odds are much higher than what we normally have to deal with. And the wonderful part about being able to calm this race with our runner's current divergence is we're going to get to see all those checks relatively quickly.
Well, there's one of the 2 desert items, so 9 items to go. And what's TR going to be today? Are we going to need 1 medallion or 2?
Oof.
Bombos, so we need 2 medallions here, plus the red cane still.
Yeah, and there's really not a whole lot that's going to give us a bunch of progression at this point. The only thing that's going to give us more than a couple items at best is that medallion for Turtle Rock, because even Quake for Mire, that's only 2 items.
Well, we got the cane there in Super Bunny, so now we are in medallion mode.
That is not a good mode to be in. WeightyWords doing a quick double check there.
Yeah, I was saying he must be getting a little bit tilted now. And there's our other item there. Only 2 more chests in... Okay. We've got Mire. So depending where Bombos is, if Bombos is in like Mire or on Pyramid Fairy, that could be that required triple climb of Death Mountain that you were talking about.
I don't have anything to say at this point. This seed is leading both of our runners around by their noses and not making it anything other than painful.
But Apathy's actually gonna check Desert before he goes into Mire.
You know, it's honestly not a bad idea. Oh, well, oh, never mind.
Suddenly realizes, wait a minute, Mire's a crystal, Desert's a pendant.
You know what? I'm pretty sure that's actually what happened. Kind of went in, heard the pendant music, and went, or we could not.
So now WeightyWords is gonna get his Mire care package in a few minutes. We'll see if he does Spike Cave while he's up here.
That's a good call. Something that I completely and totally missed that apathyduck did not do.
And it was also something where, you know, when he finished Hookshot Cave, he thought a bit, so he was clearly contemplating it and decided against.
You know, it's also at this point that we have to start considering the item that we know neither runner has gone to go get.
Which is that?
The item that's sitting in the mire, or in the Hera big chest.
Oh, right, I totally forgot.
Yep. I'm thinking that our runners have willfully forgotten at the very least. Probably not actually forgotten because, you know, they have great memories like that, but willfully definitely don't want to go back there. But at this point, we found Ether in Mire, so that is one less item that's going to be in here.
Yeah, one item down and it's the wrong medallion.
And that is perhaps the least fun thing about being in medallion mode, is if you have one medallion and you need one more particular one, if you see the third medallion in question, you have a momentary, yeah, oh, come on.
Okay, Weighty's gonna show us Spike Cave.
Yeah, and at this point, the odds are decent. I mean, we don't, from our perspective, there's not really a whole lot we don't know at this point.
And that was a waste. And Apathy's in the cutscene.
Yeah, finding everything but what's needed at this point. We're still missing one item and the big key.
We will have Pyramid Fairy access after Apathy finishes Mire here.
That's a good call. I had not considered that. So we're looking at Pyramid Fairy. One more item here in Mire. The one item sitting in Hera. And Pedestal? And that might change based upon if we can get the book somewhere. Then we would unlock 2 more item locations.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else we haven't seen that we can get at.
Yeah, other than Mushroom and Powder, which would each unlock 1 more, we are running dry. Oh, and Catfish. Oh boy, let's not forget that one either.
Oh, well, you said early on that the runners were being forced to orphan it, so indeed they have.
Ew, this is gonna get interesting, isn't it?
And I'm gonna guess that even after all this, chat's gonna wish for Big Key, GT Big Key and Tile Room.
I mean, heck, I might wish for GT Big Key and Tile Room. I'm not sure yet. I don't know. It depends on where that Bombos medallion is. You know, if we have something like Vitreous drop it, then yeah, throw the Big Key in Tile Room. They deserve it. Everything else has been relatively friendly and straightforward.
Oh, and apathyduck did get the spooky action glitch, so that'll save him a bit of time.
Very nice menu selection there to get the perfect dash.
He does not have silvers. WeightyWords does, so WeightyWords is going to have a faster Vitreous fight, but that was still a nice fast fight with those bacon spins.
It was, showing off NMG strats again there. Very nicely done with Tempered.
And our second item was not anything useful. So what are we up to? 2 items on Pyramid Fairy, Catfish, Hera Big Chest, and Pedestal?
Yeah, that sounds like the complete list to me. And it's not much of a list.
So 1 in 5 chance that our whatever progression, either Bombos or something that leads to Bombos, is on Pedestal?
Oh, man. Oh, when you put it like that. And we're going to get the Pyramid Fairy, which makes sense. It's 2 of our 5. And actually, this is the best point in time that apathyduck is going to have to go ahead and knock out Catfish.
But first, a word from the bomb shop. Do you like orange bombs? Well, we've got them. Maybe it's more red than orange.
It's okay, that was a big statement either way.
Nice damage boost there to enable a dash with the bomb, and Apathy remembers that since he did beat Aga 1, he can use vanilla game strats to get to the pyramid.
Alright, so in just a minute or two here, we're going to have 3 of our 5 locations out of the way, and at that point we're going to be looking at, yeah, either pyramid or... I can't even say it. I feel so bad.
Okay, chat. Catfish, Hera Big Chest, or Pedestal?
Well, Catfish clearly isn't the answer, because apathyduck's gonna go there. Nah, maybe not.
Oh, right. Apathyduck still orphaned Zelda's cell, and he hasn't been into desert.
And now he's mirror bonked twice. And is going to flute and forget all of it. Oh my goodness.
Or just outrun the duck. Oh, he hasn't done Smith Chain, has he?
Nope. This is going to be insane. This is going to be a wild goose chase.
Well, he'll get his silvers.
That is fair.
And WeightyWords also got the spooky action glitch there.
Yep, this is going to be a blink and you miss it fight, also known as, here's why you don't get silvers or vitreous.
Bye, Vitty.
Speaking of ice cream, would you like some eyeball gelato?
Ugh.
The difference is clear. Clear eyes. You know, with as few locations as we have left, we could very easily get something like Powder or Mushroom or the Book.
Oh yes, there are still fetch quests in play.
While they are tracing over each other's steps here, I would like to go ahead and give everyone a reminder. Give these two runners a follow. Randomizer is not kind. And these runners put themselves through it for the competition, for the camaraderie, and because, well, we all think it's fun. So definitely give both of them a follow because they're putting on a heck of a show, and this seed is doing its darndest to just make life miserable for them.
So there's Apathy's silvers. And yeah, to add to this, you know, this league goes on 7 weeks. Every runner has to race at least 4 times. These runners, you're going to see a lot more of them in the next several weeks.
I would like to point out that theoretically, this is supposed to be the nice seed.
Well, we've already seen some pretty nasty seeds this week, and we haven't even run half the races yet.
Stay tuned for 4-hour cross keys in just a few weeks. Alright, so Weighty, are you going to check Catfish? Oh my goodness, you guys are insane.
I calmed cross keys once last year. Amazingly, it was the one league race where both runners were sub 2, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to push my luck. But maybe we can have some sub 2-hour cross keys races this year too.
Wow. With the way this is going, this seed might not be sub 2. Oh my goodness, WeightyWords is going back into Swamp. Oh, wow.
Well, there are 2 items, which makes it denser than basically any other location he hasn't checked.
Am I going to have to deal with the potential witch burning if it ends up being on Catfish?
No, there are too few options left at this point. So it's too likely just in principle.
That's fair. It wasn't too likely when I called it out, though.
Oh, true.
Whoa! I didn't know you could do that! When did that become a thing? No, hold on, back up. When did that become a thing? I've never seen that in any run, and I watch a decent amount of people do NMG. When did people learn you could do that?
Seems like a good boomerang use to me.
Yes, but I've never seen it done. Holy cow!
So what does WeightyWords have left after this? Because I know apathyduck has still orphaned Zelda's cell and Spike Cave, but is there anything WeightyWords hasn't checked besides Hera Big Chest, Catfish, and Pedestal?
I believe, and I might be wrong, so don't fillet me.
Oh, he skipped Cave 45.
Yes, and I believe Stumpy as well.
That could be.
Well, because they got the mirror relatively early, and I can't imagine that you would check one and not the other.
Right, if you have the mirror before Dark World. Oh, and Apathy is now going through Eastern, which we know has nothing.
Oof, that's going to be a bit of a time loss.
Yeah, Weighty's definitely been more efficient with the item checks, and since both of our runners are last locationing whatever the last location winds up being, that's going to work to WeightyWords' advantage just because he's been more efficient.
I mean, the sad part is the way this seed is gone, they've basically last locationed, what, 3 items?
Basically, yes.
I mean, I guess technically counting doing Aghanim as a last location isn't quite correct, but they pretty much cleared everything they could before doing Aghanim. And then there were myths sitting in Swamp, and now there's something sitting somewhere. I don't even want to say Bombos, because it could just as likely be one of the other 3, well, I don't necessarily want to call Book a Fetch Quest, but Fetch Quest items that we haven't seen yet.
At this point, Book's a fetch quest because we already have desert access, so it would only give us tablets. Okay, where to, Weighty? Is he gonna finish off Landmo and make the ped play?
That... I think so. I don't think we have another option. Did he not do... Okay, never mind. Yep.
Yeah, he's going to be going for Landmo.
We're rolling ped.
Which is impressive since he didn't do Stumpy or K45.
Someone in chat was saying that he did.
Okay, I guess I must have just missed it.
And yes, to those in chat who are asking, we are going to have a blind pull ped, it looks like, because, yeah, Mothula is not going to give us anything. We already have everything out of Skull Woods, so WeightyWords wouldn't be doing this for an item in and of itself. This is going to be a ped pull.
But we get to hear the pendant music, and I like the pendant music.
It's a good point. I enjoy the pendant music too. Not as much as the Dark World Bunny music, but we just don't ever get to hear that, so...
Yeah, I don't think we have an inverted week, so that's not going to come up too much.
I do believe it is an option for mystery seeds, though.
I think so, and that is a beautiful Landmo kill.
Yep, beautiful Armos on apathyduck's side, beautiful Landmo on WeightyWords. These guys know how to take bosses and murder them. Apathyduck, meanwhile, forgot that he'd already taken out Helmasaur for a minute.
So Weighty's gonna go finish off the Moth now, which will put him in the right place to immediately pull... No. He's going to Link's house?
This has to be Catfish, right? Or this is Zelda's cell, but I feel like this has to be Catfish.
No, WeightyWords did Zelda's cell already, so this has got to be Catfish.
Oh boy.
I guess it's marginally faster than Fluting to 5, since you've already beaten Naga.
Yeah, it makes sense. I just wish he'd done it after doing Pyramid Fairy. It would have been quicker. You wouldn't have had to do the extra trip, but, you know. Hindsight's 20/20, and when you last location this many items because the seed is just that mean, you're going to be feeling off-kilter at the best. Alright, get your Catfish hype in chat. Might as well. We only have a few locations left.
And there's another bonk for the fantasy score.
You do enjoy bringing that up. Nope.
Good, we don't have to burn you. So yeah, we're down to 50-50, Hera Big Chest or Pedestal. And if it's Hera Big Chest, the runners are gonna feel so silly for Hera potting.
I was just gonna say that, like, there are no words for how behind WeightyWords is going to feel if it's not Ped. But then, like, so at some point you have to think to yourself, my opponent had to do something, right? Because assuming that apathyduck grabbed whatever it is out of that big chest, assuming that occurred, and that's our progression, apathyduck must have done something else to not be, done or nearing it. So at that point you're going, okay, what did my opponent do that was bad enough that they're not done yet?
But Apathy Duck is now starting his pendant collection too.
Oh man, this is gonna be great if it's Hair a Big Chest.
That might be a lesson about not relying too much on the Harapod clip if that's the case.
You young whippersnappers and your new glitches, I'll teach you a lesson.
So again, we'll have nearly simultaneous pendant pickups like we did before. Weighty should get through this pretty quickly.
Yeah, Mothula is being friendly, so that was spectacular. Only one unneeded hit there.
But Apathy has the Fire Rod and the Silver Arrows. This should be an easy one cycle. Nope, not quite.
Well, not when the last one short hops to the left. Come on.
But get your ped hype in chat.
No, heck, Ped. I want it to be in the Hair Big Chest. That's so much worse at this point.
It's ped. We have an Agaped seed.
And honestly, at that point, WeightyWords is going to be feeling pretty good. Apathy Duck probably will too, because if it's on Ped, at least you know that your opponent had to clear everything too.
I can't remember the last Agaped seed I saw.
Do you want to do all dungeons?
Well, Apathy's behind, but not by much.
I mean, you say that, but it's a couple minutes at this point. I would say that unless WeightyWords does something to put Apathy Duck back in the lead, or unless there's some really... Oh, no. Well, okay, so... I'm sorry! I'm sorry! I'm sorry, WeightyWords. I didn't mean to.
Well, we could have something crazy like no small key in Hope Room, Apathy Duck does Dark Magician, and it turns out the big key is in Compass Room.
Oh, yes, I'm not saying the game is over by any stretch. I'm not even saying the game is over outside of WeightyWords doing something terrible. I'm just saying at this point, Apathy Duck's going to need some help. And, you know, I feel like at this point, in terms of, like, the level of relief that Weighty... Okay, hold on, I've got to stop for a second, because that Mothula kill was absolutely ridiculous. Again, these guys are top-tier runners, and they are showing it, regardless of what the seed has done to them. But anyways, I was going to say, I feel like WeightyWords, upon pulling Ped, had that been nothing, oof, that would have felt really, really bad. So WeightyWords probably really, really happy that that was Bombos on Ped.
Word's time when he pulled Ped, so I don't know exactly what the time difference is between them now.
WeightyWords pulled it at almost exactly 1:30 even, so we're looking at about 2.5 minutes.
Okay, so a noticeable lead, but not an insurmountable lead.
Correct. Especially with the way this seed's gone, I feel like the tilt factor is fairly high. Neither runners have played like that, mind you, but I feel like regardless of how you play, there's just some point where you start to get frustrated with what you're given. And this seed has not given much.
Okay, so early big key.
Yeah, which almost definitely means that we're going to get a skip of the lava chest and a skip of the big chest, which is actually another way that WeightyWords could lose a boatload of time.
Yeah, skipping the big chest is a bit risky, especially because, you know, even in the non-worst case, it could still save you having to do laser bridge.
Yeah, that's fair, but with how quickly these guys do laser skips, I feel like it's still not going to be much of a time difference in terms of that.
Depends where on the laser bridge the key is.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, that's a wonderful bunny sprite.
The actual sundae. And that did look Neapolitan more than strawberry to me.
Yeah, but I don't think the bunny sprite changes based upon male upgrades. Again, might be totally wrong.
Yep, WeightyWords is skipping the big chest there. If Crystal Roller Room has a small key, he's golden.
Yes. And even if there's a small key somewhere in I'm not sure what that miscoloring was. I don't know if that was only on my screen. Yeah, even if the small key is in the first or second chest in Laser Bridge, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, in any case, Crystal Roller had the small key, so yeah. Go mode and on to GT shortly.
It's as much of a god Turtle Rock as you're gonna get.
Yeah, it's always nice when you actually see that big key early and you have some hope for not having to do laser bridge. I love that Samaria dash.
Yeah, it is so much fun to watch. Alright, so here we go. Not a whole lot of health, but should be enough for us to get through this. And since this is going to be a quick trip, I'm going to go ahead and start letting you guys know about the lovely little game we like to play. There are 22 chest locations in the basement of Ganon's Tower that could have that GT big key. We like guessing which location it is. We're going to go off of WeightyWords, and we're going to count in order of what location check it is for him. So get your guesses in chat, 1 through 22. Where is the big key hiding? Drosy, my friend, you have come with me through this wonderful seed that has just strung our runners along over and over and over again. What is your guess today?
I'm just gonna do my traditional guess of 10 because I'm feeling lucky after getting the Agant Blue Ball number right. What about you?
That's fair. Between those two guesses, you'd have a 10-4 seed, which I don't think our runners would agree with. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to be nice. They've been here for an hour and 37 minutes. They don't need to be playing for another 15 minutes. Let's go 22.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. Did I say that wrong?
By the way, it helps if you actually start the game.
Okay, well now get your guests in chat quickly.
Okay, so that's about 137.40 for entering GT.
Alright, so we're either going to get full left side or Dark Magician. Prior to this version, I would lean towards full left side, but our runners have been doing a lot of Dark Magician for V31, so we might actually see WeightyWords do that.
Well, a lot of small keys in Stalfos' room. 3 small keys in a heart container.
I wouldn't be surprised to just not see a small key here in Hope Room, just because, well, we have most of them at this point.
Yeah, so if it's in Compass Room, that'll pay off big for WeightyWords. If it is not, that could help apathyduck catch up. Assuming he doesn't also do Dark Magician.
Yeah, I have no idea what runners use what meta for GT big key routing, even if there is such a thing for what our runners choose to do for V31. It's just kind of been insane, so I couldn't even tell you what apathyduck is more or less likely to do at this point. Alright, so here's the moment of truth.
So that's 9, right?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
No,
8,
it's
9, 10,
11.
11. Yep. So we are halfway
so much
through.
For my 10.
Yeah, sorry, you were able to get one of them correctly, which is nice, especially as you went with a non-standard guess of 4. Usually the answer is 2 or 3. So, GG on that. Unfortunately, the 4.5% is not with you today.
Ah, well. So apathy in there at 140, 01, 02, about 221, 222 difference. But he's also doing Dark Magician, probably, so he is unfortunately not going to gain anything on WeightyWords here.
Maybe. This would be huge if he didn't, though. Especially if apathyduck is feeling behind, we could just see a full left clear, and that would make this close.
Well, there's our powder.
No,
He's not
I'm
trying
almost
to kill
positive.
the Stalfos.
Yeah, you and I came to the same conclusion there when he left both of those Stalfos up in the northern wall.
So now we're in Rando Room, where if WeightyWords had gone to Hope Room first, that would have been my number 10, but either way, okay. So, what does that put it? 12, 13, 16.
16... Yep, sounds right to me.
So congratulations, Orodred, who guessed 17. Wow, no one actually guessed 16. That's impressive.
I'm scrolling up a bit because we were a bit late in starting the game. And shoutouts to Roger Dodger Raz, who was the first person in chat to guess 16. So I'm giving you a shout out there because we were late on starting that game. But yeah, here we go. We are facing the gauntlet here in just a moment on WeightyWords side, and this is a particular set of half a dozen rooms where our runners get to show that they are very, very good at this game. The fun part to think about for all these rooms is that every single enemy in here has RNG, outside of the BMOS, because they just kind of roll around and move their eyeballs in the same pattern every time. But everything that moves can move in completely different directions for completely different lengths of time and end up in woefully different positions. So the fact that they can do these at all with any sort of consistency is just a shout out to how good they are at execution here. Alright, so we're coming up on the relatively easy and most satisfying room in the game, in my opinion. Right there, Canis Maria takes out 3, Sword takes out the other, and you get to stroll through the room untouched.
And apathyduck is now upstairs. But yeah, that's 3 floors separating them.
Every time I see a runner go for those stairs in the middle there, I get a little bit scared, because I've seen that GTD spawn, and I've had it happen, and ooh, it is not fun.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times. That could have changed the lead if it had happened.
Yes, but I try not to talk about it until we're past that point, just because I don't want that commentator's curse on me.
Oh, and WeightyWords is taking it a bit risky. He did not powder any anti-fairies in that last room. He's going to go into Aga 2 with 5.5 hearts.
Again, most likely a situation here where they're both feeling behind. WeightyWords, because he reneged on a couple of those gambles, ended up, in his mind, wasting time by going back to Swamp and the like. apathyduck probably feeling behind for pretty much the same reason with a couple of different locations. This seed is just... You couldn't route this seed in a way that was going to make you feel good about your routing. It just didn't work out that way.
That was a beautiful double, though.
It was. And another one.
Doesn't quite get the triple-double.
But still, 4 cycle is pretty good, especially with the blue ball in the middle of that second cycle that kind of ruined any chance of doing anything well that WeightyWords somehow still doubled. So we are on to fight the pig.
If apathyduck can get a triple-double, he can make up a, what is that, like 10 seconds maybe?
Yeah, we're still basically needing a late Ganon fall at this point for this to be close.
Yeah.
Or a death. Well, Ganon, since you asked, we would like you with eggs fried over medium, please. Thank you.
I still like the spicy barbacoa burrito remark.
Yes, it's always fun asking my co-com what type of burrito they think they would be, just out of the blue. So, Drosy, what type of burrito do you fancy you would be?
I don't know. Chicken?
See, I definitely fancy I'd be a chicken burrito, because when I play this game, I enjoy all of the safeties.
There you go. And we are on to phase 4, and Silver Arrows didn't quite get the torch glitch, though. But that could be a double. Nope. There we go, though. Get your GGs in chat.
Yep, WeightyWords just having a 1x3 bridge to cross. And there we go. Finishing in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 16 seconds. So go ahead and get your GGs in chat.
Hey, it was a sub 2 hour, even despite being Agaped.
Yeah, but it was only that because we didn't see the book somewhere terrible, and then ended up having to check all of those locations too. apathyduck is not being friendly to the people who chose him for the team. Wow!
Yeah, sorry, your bonk count's gonna be high.
What was that, a good 7 or 8? Oof.
Also, I'm not sure how much time we're going to have to interview the runners here, just because I know there's another race coming on here at 8:10.
Alright, so let's definitely do that real quick. So while Apathy is finishing up Ganon, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the schedule real quick and let you guys know what you have to look forward to tonight. Because trust me, you have a lot to look forward to tonight.
Yeah, as soon as we're done here, we have Supernin Taylor versus Kegan the Closet. Supernin Taylor representing Team Kinda Randa Retired, and Kegan the Closet representing Team Hot Dish, the team of Minnesotans.
Yep, meanwhile, if you want to go into races that have started just about 20 minutes ago, we do have 2 of them. We have JTB versus Sinak over on SG5, and Mr. DNA versus Relkin over on SG6. We also have another race starting on the ALTTPR League channel. That's going to be Trinex versus Tyler Salt. That's starting in 10 minutes. And yeah, we have another race starting at 8:40, so 40 minutes from now, another race an hour and 10 minutes, and then a late night race starting in just over 2.5 hours. So go ahead, take a look at the schedule. There's a bunch of stuff up there, as apathyduck absolutely murders Ganon and going to be crossing their own bridge. So that's an official SRL time for apathyduck in the 1 hour, 49 minute, and 35 second.
And we have apathyduck in here with us. GG.
GG.
So, when was your last Agaped seed?
I have no idea. Last time I played the game the correct way.
True. But, yeah, so what were your thoughts on this whole slog?
I mean, it's full clear. Like, just had to do everything pretty much. So, beginning was really annoying, especially with going to Dark World and then just having bad access. Like, the only thing I could have done is just manned up and did pod without the bow, but I had no idea where it was because of skipping race game. So that would have helped, but like doing pod bowless seemed like a really bad idea at the time. So
did you just skip race game because you went down to get the bombs and then were kind of working upwards in Kakariko and didn't want to go back down?
Yeah, it was just going to be forever away. I got the flipper. I was going to do it if I didn't get any, because I didn't get any progression until literally the last thing, and I got the flippers. So I was going to do it if there was nothing there, but I got the flippers, so I was like, all right, I'm just going to bail out because it's just forever away.
Yeah, you guys were really back and forth. Unfortunately, we don't have WeightyWords in here to, compare notes, but you guys basically did all the same things, and WeightyWords just happened to do them in a slightly more efficient order, is what it came down to.
Yeah, that's what me not doing Skullwoods was the big thing. I was debating whether to do it or not, and then because I knew it had to either be because I had to make that loop, and then making the loop again is just really terrible. So I was like, well, I'll go down to Swamp, and then for some reason I was thinking I could come back up, and then I realized I couldn't, so I just mirrored and then ran back up. Or I saved and quit to Pyramid, that's what I did. So that was the big thing.
Now, the one interesting thing is both of you did the Harapot clip, and so we were wondering, what if that Go Mode Bombos or something leading to Bombos were in that Hera Big Chest? I mean, did you ever think about, should I go back to that?
One sec. My mic screwed up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, if I skipped that, I skipped Zelda Cell. I effectively skipped Eastern until the game forced me to go back there. So it was just, I mean, with getting Hammer there and that opening, giving access to Swamp and killing Helma, it just wasn't worth it to go back in. So if the season's gonna make you go back, it's gonna make you go back.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you take risks. You actually saved some time because you did left side Swamp immediately after clearing Swamp. That was one of the things that WeightyWords had skipped, and he then had to go back to later. So, there are both things that each of you skipped and then had to go back to. And largely they canceled out, which is why it was, only 2.5 minutes difference, which all told for something that long is still pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't play very well. I screwed up literally every boss. So GG to Weighty. Weighty's real good at this. He's a good friend. So shout outs to him. He had a run. So.
And I'm being told we do need to wrap here because there is that race that's going to be coming on in a few minutes that we mentioned. So, yeah, thanks a lot, apathyduck, for coming in. GG's to both of our runners. Viewers, stick around. We're going to be bringing you Super Nintendo versus Keg in the Closet. Same settings here.
Yep, that's definitely going to be another race to watch. While I'm here, shout outs to our tracker Sky Bright for keeping everything lit up here. It is not an easy job to do, and the moment you blink or look away, you'll miss something. Happens every time, so shout out there. Good job there. Shout out to both of our runners. They did as well as they could. That's pretty much all I have, so I'm going to let you go ahead and finish us out. Send us off, Drosy.
Yeah, well, thank you, Hammer. It was great working with you as always. And again, shout outs to our runners. Please do give them a follow. They both did a fantastic job with this Agaped seed. And as I say, the league has 6 more weeks. So in the meantime, stick around here. We've got another race for you. Should be great. And thanks for joining us.